It was just one goal in it, and it went Manchester City's way. Mahrez got it set up by Grealish, and of course they are showing again they have strength in depth. But disappointment for Chelsea, of that there is no doubt, especially with Todd Bowley sitting there watching it. The problems mounting up for Potter and Chelsea. So that second half goal from Mahrez leaves Chelsea 10th in the table, 10 points off the top four. They're actually closer on points rate to Southampton in 20th than they are to Arsenal in first. If you're a Chelsea fan, Ray, and Chelsea fans listening this morning, you want to send me a message, please do, 81089. Should you be concerned that Potter is the man in charge at this time?
I would say yes and no. I mean, I think everybody knew it was going to be a tough job for him because he's stepping up a couple of levels really from Brighton. No disrespect to Brighton, but he knows he's going to have bigger egos, bigger players, more pressure on him, if you like, every single game. You can't lose 3 games in a row when you're at Chelsea. You can maybe get away with it at Brighton at times, but certainly you've got to give him time. Now, he's had lots of injuries. They panned on the director's box or one of the boxes last night, and behind the dugout. How many players they've got missing? You know, Sterling limping off early in the game doesn't help.
They miss Kante, don't they?
Yeah, Kante's massive for them. You know, I know they've been linked with Fernandes, but I would look at a striker more for Chelsea. I don't know if there's any strikers available, but that's where they're lacking big time. Number 9. They've done that over the years. Aubameyang come on. He doesn't look the same player for me. He doesn't look like he's enjoying his football at the moment. He didn't make no runs. He wasn't really in the game. What I was really happy with, all the youngsters coming on. The substitution they made second half. I mean, Hutchinson coming on, Lewis Hall. Gallagher was a little bit more livelier, you know, with his running power. And the midfielder was very good as well, Zakaria. He looked a real talent. Yeah. He was controlling that midfield, always wanted the ball. Very much in the game, so it's not good enough. And 10th place for Chelsea isn't good enough because Chelsea is a huge club. You know they've got the finances to try and challenge that top 4, but I think that he still needs a little bit more time, Graham Potter.
Well, I mean, you wonder with Todd Bowley watching, and we've seen what he did in the past, didn't hang around with Thomas Tuchel. One wonders how long he will
It'd be interesting to see how the Chelsea fans are
Well, let's
thinking.
do that. That's a great point. Let's do that now, Ray.
But they were excellent last night, by the way. The fans really got behind the team and really had a go and tried to be that 12th man for Chelsea.
Well, like many fans of the top clubs, Ray, they're not backward and coming forward when it comes to giving us opinion about what direction they think the club is going. This is Chelsea fans on it.
I think it's all down to Potter. And I know people say he hasn't had a transfer window, blah, blah, blah. Managers at the top flight should manage.
I've supported Chelsea all my life, and I'm a bit bored of watching them at the minute.
We're just horrific. We've invested so much into the club, and it's just, everyone's just awful.
All that money we spent in the summer, I honestly don't think the players are good enough.
The sad truth about Chelsea right now, I mean, we are just spineless.
Spineless. I mean, Koulibaly, to be fair, a lot of Chelsea fans feel that he has not done it since he came in.
No.
As you rightly say, Aubameyang...
He was a little bit better last night.
But Aubameyang is a shadow of the player that he was.
He just doesn't look like he's interested. And that's the big problem you have. And since the likes
he's got to be interested.
Since the likes of Drogba, and I'm going back many years now, Hasselbank and players like that, proper number 9s for Chelsea... who've they had? You know, Lukaku's not. Whether it's the way they play, I don't know, and it's not ideal for the number 9. But certainly they've really struggled. A real goal scorer, like what Man City have got. I know he didn't score last night, but Haaland, not in games, but you know he's going to pop up and nick you a goal. Chelsea haven't got that.
It'd be a different team though if Kante was in it, if Chilwell was in it.
Absolutely. Reece James at right back, and so you got lots of good players there. Who can step into Chelsea straight away and turn them around. And that's why I think you've got to give them a little bit more of a chance. If you've got all your best players in the team and it's still the same results you're getting, then there's a problem.
Do you think Chelsea will be top 6?
Top 6 will be a push, certainly. With the teams who are in there at the moment, you can see Arsenal, Man City. I know Liverpool had that awful result against Brentford. I can still see them having a good run to the end of the season and challenging top 4. Then you've got Spurs, a big result the other night against Palace. Newcastle, they're going to keep winning games because they don't concede. And you always got a chance if you don't concede. Going back to my old back four, if you stay in the game, certain situations, you're always going to get a chance. So I can see Newcastle still going. So I think it's going to be difficult for Chelsea.
I think so too. When you look at it this morning, Ray, above Chelsea at this moment, Arsenal, City, Newcastle United, Tottenham, Liverpool, Fulham, and Brighton, plus Brentford. They have one hell of a way to go to get themselves anywhere near top 6, let alone top 4. What's the implication if they don't make Europe?
Well, that's going to be huge for the club, obviously. So, and I'm sure you're right. They've got big owners. They've got big owners now, lots of money. They don't want a big name now to come in as a manager, and they'll be looking at the situation and saying, "Well, wait a minute. Let's wait until we can get a few players back, get the injuries back into the side, and then if we're not playing great still, then we have to make a big decision. Now, the decision is now who's available." Which is the most important thing, because Chelsea, you can't just go sack managers and say, right, what do we do now? They've got to have a plan in place and say, right, here's our number one target. And I'm sure behind the scenes, Jim, you know how it works. They'll be tapping people up. If they're going to come to a decision to sack Graham Potter, they'll be seeing who wants to come to Chelsea. And if it's the right man, then they might pull the trigger and say, right, Graham, sorry, it's been too big for you, this job. We're going to go elsewhere. That's how it's going to probably come down to.
Do you see it going that way, Ray? I know. Many people say, "Oh, that's unfair to talk about it from Potter's point of view," but we have to talk about it from Potter's point of view, don't we?
Well, he knows
they are where they are.
He knows the pressure on himself, his backroom staff to get results. It was always going to be tricky. We know Man City are a great side, and I didn't fancy Chelsea to get anything out of last night, but they showed a lot of promise in that first half. They really did. They really attacked Man City's back four. They had opportunities to get that first goal, which could have been vital for Chelsea's point of view. Then Man City have to chase the game. But certainly at the moment, all the fans looking at is the position of the team, and it's 10th position, which is not good enough if you're a Chelsea fan. They need to be pushing. They need to be near Newcastle now, pushing for that top four, maybe even trying to a title challenge. But it's a long way off that at the moment.
A long way off that. Do you think it's fair that Bowley should come in for a bit of criticism and the people that he is working with in terms of the signings they've made, because many of them have not worked?
We all know about recruitment, Jim. It's so important in teams. My old club got it wrong on quite a few occasions, if I'm being honest. People like Pepe and certain players. Then you look at Everton. Look at the misery they're having at the moment. Look at the recruitment. They've spent lots of money. Hasn't worked out. So you can argue. Chelsea. It's not just Chelsea. There's lots of clubs who don't get it right. And that's as much as you've got to have a good team on the pitch, you've got to have people behind you helping you as well. Make sure they're spotting the right players and getting the right players in. And if you haven't got that, you're always going to be on the back foot if you're a manager.
It's a very important game for them when they come back after the FA Cup break. I mean, Chelsea against Palace at Stamford Bridge on the 15th.
Well, Palace is so hit and miss, aren't they?
Well, they've got to be looking at winning that.
I can't work out Palace.
Must win for Chelsea.
Well, if you look at the other night against Spurs, I mean, the first half, they really pressurised Tottenham in that first half. Second half, they lose a goal, suddenly 2-0 down, 3-0 down, and the game's over. Yeah. So Palace, I can't work them out at the moment either. I mean, I know Patrick very well. He'd be scratching his head saying, look, we can put some great performances in, but then it's a really poor performance. But, that's a big game for Chelsea, and they probably will look at the FA Cup as well and say, can we get a good FA Cup run as well? I know they've got City, which is a nightmare team to get in the third round, but Chelsea, I wouldn't pull the trigger yet if you're a Chelsea fan. I mean, give him a little bit more time. I'm sure there's lots of Chelsea fans out there saying, no, he's had his time, let's move on and try and get another manager in. But I still think it's a little bit unfair if you do that.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.